Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live Friday question and answer class, where you can ask questions regarding American English pronunciation and intonation, American accent, anything to help you improve your overall communication in American English. Thank you so much, those of you who've been making requests for our Word of the Day series. I've been covering your words each day, and it's wonderful to see your questions and to help you with the words you're struggling with. There are many, many difficult words in English and many words that are simple but still can present difficulties simply because pronunciation is so different in different languages. And of course, English spelling can complicate matters quite a bit as well. If you're new to class, feel free to ask your questions at any time in the comments. I'll be answering them as we go. And I wanted to just start briefly with something related to spelling and pronunciation, which is some of these common question words that begin with the letters WH. So in words like where and what, the WH sound simply says the W sound. And in the word where, we also have this ERE spelling, which has the air diphthong. So where, the question word, is the same pronunciation as wear, like in wear clothes, and wear, like in goods and wares. And then when we have the question word what, again, we have the W for the question word, and this letter A actually says vowel schwa, so it sounds like and then we have our T. So where, what, and then in who, for some reason, we spell this with WH, but we say it with the H sound. It sounds like who, and then we have that tense oo vowel. So just some simple everyday words that we all use all the time have some spelling that can be misleading. Yes, so I wanted to cover that because we had talked about something at the end of the class last week that made me want to show you guys that basic spelling to pronunciation difference. I see we have some questions. Welcome, everybody. We have a question. Do I consider words like oil or while to be one or two syllables? Good question. So if I'm saying oil or while, I do consider them to be one syllable, but the sounds are such that Americans will drag out these vowels because they're diphthongs. So oil, oil. If I'm going slowly, I have that oil, oil. It is enough sounds to qualify for two syllables, oil. But we run all of those together very quickly. So it's one syllable, oil, oil. But it can help you to break it down as though it were two syllables to get all of the sounds. Same with while, while, while. If you have difficulty with those diphthongs and those the schwa before the dark L, then thinking of it as two syllables, while, and then trying to speed them up, while, is helpful. Technically in the dictionary, I think they'll be marked as one syllable. I often break them down into their parts and help people stretch them out to be able to get the pronunciation correct. That's a very good observation. Thank you for that question. We have another question. Nice to see you again. He's asking about the word betroth and betrothed. So for betroth, you spelled it like this, and I'm wondering if that is, I know that in betrothed, we have a voiced sound for that TH at the end. So it's like the word clothe or mouth or teeth, where my voice needs to be on. So, and then I have a voiced D. It just sounds like betrothed. This first syllable, betrothed, is either going to be a light I, like B, or I think I say it more like ba with a schwa, betrothed. I have to do my TR blend, so I'll say my T and then my long diphthong O, betrothed. For this, oh, not toth, but troth, betroth. I think it might also be betroth, even though normally something like that would be spelled with an E, like clothe or teeth. I think it's probably the voice sound, but let's check in the dictionary. That also might be one where I can use a voiced or unvoiced sound, like in betrothal, the betrothal of the two people, or betrothal. Let's check and see. So I like using the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. And what you can see is that there's a different symbol for the voiceless TH or the voiced TH. So let's just see if your word betroth is spelled with that E at the end or not, and also what the voiced sound is there. So we'll check. Yeah, so it's not in the dictionary, so I'm thinking that we don't have betroth by itself. I think we have betrothal, betrothal, and betrothed. Let's look at betrothal, and we'll check for the voicing there. Yeah, so it's showing this symbol here that looks like a D with a little line, and that is the voice sound betrothal. So I think maybe there isn't a word. I think we just use it in betrothal and betrothed rather than by itself as a verb. It is a pretty old-fashioned word, not commonly used. Now we typically just say engaged to be married or engaged for your word. But thank you for that question. Hi, Miguel. Nice to see you. So Miguel is asking, with words ending with RT, ERED or RD. Okay, so words, for example, like ordered, ordered, or quartered. So same sounds with that TER or the DER, and definitely challenging. Yes. So this is a challenging combination, and usually what I would say is trying to break it down. So if you're struggling mostly with the ending part here, break it down and go start from one of the R's. So for example, with order, I would just work on or, and feel solid in that, and then make a break between your or and your der so that you have time to get ready for that next R. Order. And then this is where you have to go right from the to the D. So I'm thinking that that strategy for breaking it up, order, helps you in this part, but it doesn't help you here where I have to go to ordered, erd. So it might be the to the D that's giving you trouble, in which case you could try doing words like bird, word, where you have that ERD sound, third, and you might break it from the end. So if I'm trying to do ordered, like she ordered the special, I would try just erd, and then dird. Kind of sounds weird, right? Erd, dird, ordered, because I think it's probably going back from that to the d and back and forth. That's challenging for you. So I suggest just breaking up these words a couple of different ways, figuring out where the breakdown happens. If it's in this then work on being able to go back to the D from the If it's because there's multiple ordered, then break it up a little bit and give yourself some a chance to move back and forth between those and ors, which are in the back, and the the D, where the tongue has to go back to the front. Definitely a challenging combination. A lot of words like that are very hard. So be patient and keep working on it. Thanks for that request, Miguel. That was great. Hello, Halim. Nice to see you. Halim would like to know about the word enhanced and terrestrial. So for enhanced, we have the second syllable stress. When I'm doing enhance, I can do it with a red tent vowel N, enhance, but I think it's typically actually lacks if vowel. So thinking of the word as in, enhance. My hance vowel is the black cat vowel. The C, letter C says S. And then because I have an S sound, my ED says the T sound. So try hanced, enhanced. And then your second word was terrestrial. That's a tough one. Terrestrial. So let's build this one from the back. First, at the end of the word, we have our dark L, which sounds kind of like vowel schwa plus L, ul. And then we have E, eel, eel. So moving from the front to the back, eel. Real, that's just like the word real. And then trio. So you can think of trio. We have the word rest in here. And then the TE at the beginning is unstressed, terrestrial. So you have a schwa there. So it's be like this, terrestrial, second syllable stress. So it's a terrestrial occurrence, happens here on Earth. Okay, great. Thank you, Halim, for those requests. I wouldn't have thought of terrestrial on my own, and that's definitely a tough one just because of those R's, and the vowel letters don't necessarily lead us to understanding which vowel sounds we need for that word. We have a request for the words subtle and subtly. So subtle, first of all. We have the B doesn't make any sound. So it would make more sense to spell it like this, subtle. We have this T is a flap. It sounds more like a D. And again, here's our syllabic L. So we have almost no vowel sound in there, but a little bit of a schwa. Dull, subtle. So same vowel, also a schwa in the first syllable, subtle. And it has first syllable stress. So subtle, the sud is long and the dull is short. Subtly is subtle. It's the same sounds. We just add an E, subtly. And then we also have subtlety, where if I say something subtly or there's subtlety, this noun versus adjective, then we just add the T in there. So probably that B is the confusing part with the spelling, and then that syllabic L at the end is the challenging part for the pronunciation. Thank you, that's a good request. Okay, Tashi. First we had a question from Murali, how to sound like an American. So generally speaking, if you're just looking overall to acquire an American accent, identifying what sounds you're saying in accented speech, so becoming aware of what's typical for speakers of your native language when they're speaking English. We have a sound system in our native language that affects how we hear and pronounce other languages. So I would suggest for you, if you go to speechmodification.com, first of all, you can use the free practice materials here. You can watch my word of the day classes. All of the pronunciation help and intonation help that I give is focused on helping you have an American accent, as well as just improving and having clear communication, even if the accent is not your goal. So using those materials. And then also I would suggest if you go to my store page, you'll see that we have free downloads. That's over here on the left side, and you click on that. And then you can look up your native language and you can say, okay, maybe you're a Farsi speaker, a French speaker, Arabic. There's a lot of languages represented here. And you can get a free download that's going to tell you, here's the things that are different in your speech when you're speaking in English because of the way your brain works and what you hear in your native language. So addressing some of those patterns, looking at the differences, and then generally working specifically on those sounds and patterns, as well as listening to a lot of English, speaking a lot of English, using native speakers and imitating them, either with real people or using TV and movies is a great way to start getting that American sound. Depending on your level, of course, there's a lot of other subtleties. You can also check out on my website, I have some online courses that are helpful for acquiring the accent. The course that I would suggest starting with is our 6-week course. You can get a free trial of that and see if that's useful for you. It walks you through step by step how to work on your accent. So thank you and good luck to you with that. Okay, we had another request, which was for the word folk, the words folk, folks, girl, and first. So first, let's look at folk, as in folk music, folk art, folk songs. So this L is silent, and it sounds just like folk. It has the American diphthong O and the K sound. Rhymes with yoke, joke, etc. So making sure you have the long O sound. And then when you add the S, folks, you just add the S sound. So I like folk music. All the folks who were there also liked folk music. And then you also wanted to know about girl. And for this word, I'm going to suggest after class, go to my website and go to the free practice, search on girl, and you'll see a video that slowly walks you through the steps to build the word girl. It also helps you with words like world, similar words that have the and the o. A short version of that video would be to tell you to try to make sure you have your and that's the first sound to begin with. And then trying gur, and then adding your dark L, girl, girl. So just like we were talking about oil and your other request at the beginning, while, when I have that dark L, it's almost like it's a 2-syllable word. It is 1 syllable, girl, but when I break it down and really glide, girl, it gives me room to do my R and my dark L, which is a challenging combination. Girl is a simple word, but it's definitely one of the more challenging words to pronounce for our everyday words. And then lastly, you requested the word first. First, again, we have the IR spelling and the ER sound, So again, I'd build it from the I'd say fur, first, first. If it helps you to do firsts and then first, you can do that. Be careful not to let that T drop off. That's a common accent error pattern where people are saying words like least or just or first and their T drops off. And you may hear some native speakers do that, but that's typically considered an error. And you want to put both the S and the T sound at the end when they have them in the word. Thank you for those requests. We have the question, does the word route sound like route or route? And you'll hear both. So I just recently covered this in our word of the day. I personally say route with the ow pronunciation. Other places say it more like root with the oo pronunciation. I think that is maybe more East Coast would say root. So you can listen to how people say it where you are and choose or do whichever one is easier for you, but both are correct. And we have a request for the word lieutenant. Maybe you requested that on Facebook too, and I do have that on my list, but I'm glad you're here and I can cover it for you now. So let me look at the spelling. We have Lieutenant. So this is a word that is different in American English than in French, where it comes from, and also I think different than British English. So in American English, we say it as lieutenant. So we say the tenant part the same as the word tenant, like someone who rents, the tenant or the occupant. And we stress on that second syllable 10. So a good way to work on lieutenant is to start with the word tenant. And we have the red tent vowel. sounds like central vowel, tenant. And then the second vowel is more of an I or a schwa. So it sounds kind of like an tenant, tenant, tenant. And Americans will typically, at this NT at the ends of words, they will stop that T. So I can say lieutenant with a little T on it, or I can say lieutenant, tenant, where I kind of go right from this N into this N, and then I stop it short, tenant, tenant. That's kind of tough. It's okay to say lieutenant, but you don't want to say too much stress or too much vowel between those two N sounds. And then for the lieu syllable, it's like how we say in lieu of something. Again, different in American English than in the French where it comes from. You could just rewrite it like lieu and use that clear oo vowel. So what you want to make sure is that you have short, long, short, lieutenant, lieutenant. Yes, good request. Thank you for attending class and asking about that one. I think that's challenging word because of how we do the end of it, and then also, of course, because how it's spelled. If you have a question and you haven't asked it yet, please feel free to put that in the comments and I'll cover it. I really appreciate all of the different suggestions and words that you guys come up with and that you have been requesting over the past few weeks. We do have our daily Word of the Day classes, as well as on Sundays, we talk about American English expressions and phrases. So we'll have our Phrase of the Week class on Sunday. And we also now offer channel memberships. So if you're interested in attending another live class once a week, we have a members only class on Sundays where you can come and ask your questions live. And another benefit that the members have is that they can ask me questions throughout the week and I'll cover their questions in that class. So even if they can't attend live, their questions will get answered and then they can watch the replay later. So you can click the join button and check out different membership options if you're interested. We have a question whether what's easier to speak, British or American. Yeah, for me, American, because that's what I learned. I think some people learning English find the British accent a little bit easier because it's a little bit more consistent with what it does with T sounds and some of the vowel sounds. It's really going to depend too on, what you have access to. I think it's easiest to speak an accent where you have a lot of opportunities to hear that accent. So if I'm living in England or another European country or in Africa, someplace where the tendency is to use more of the British accent, it might be harder for me to learn the American accent because I'm not hearing a lot of it. If I'm living somewhere where people primarily speak with the American accent, that one is going to be easier as well. What I always say is I think it's most important to work on pronouncing words and speaking fluently and confidently in a way that's well understood by anyone listening to you. And so it doesn't matter so much what accent you're using. It's more important that you have that pronunciation that falls within correct pronunciation for English, even if it's different. I'm always teaching about American accent because that's where my expertise lies. And I do sometimes talk about British versus American to help people who have been exposed and learned the British way if they want to try to say it more the American way. But I don't have a strong opinion on which one is easier to acquire or which one is better. I think all accents are wonderful. So thank you. Yes, so great to see you, everyone. Thank you so much for the great questions today and for attending class. Next Friday, I believe I will not be having a live class, but we will still have the 12 o'clock class. So it will be a broadcast with a lot of words from the Word of the Day series, as well as on the 25th, we'll have a class at 12, but it won't be live. And then we'll be back with our next live class, New Year's Day 2021. So I'm very excited. Looking forward to a new year, as I'm sure many of us are, hoping that 2021 goes a little better for everyone than 2020 did. It'll be a great time to start working on pronunciation, self-improvement, and hopefully you'll be able to continue to attend our Word of the Day classes and our Friday live classes. I appreciate all of the support and great questions. Isabel, if you have a question, you can still ask it. So even though it sounds like I'm wrapping up, do feel free to put your comments in. I can continue a little bit longer if you have a question. Nice to see you, Rose. I'm glad you were here. If, for those of you who are saying you just came in, this same video will continue to be available on the channel as a replay, as all of my live classes are. And I've been starting to try to go back and put in the comments what words we covered in class and what concepts, so that you can jump to the word that you're interested in. Although oftentimes watching the whole thing is useful, because you'll find out words that you didn't think you needed to learn anything about. There's a piece of information that could be useful for you about those words. I discover that myself when I'm answering questions about words, and I think, someone will request a word and I'll think, oh, well, I wonder why they're asking about this. And then when I start breaking down the word, I discover, oh yeah, there's some challenges here and some differences here. So it is a process of discovery. Other people's words often help you, and your words help other people. So again, thank you for all of the questions and requests. Yes, Isabella, I won't be live on Christmas Day, 2 weeks from today, but I will have a 12 o'clock class. And what I'll be covering that day is about, I think, 10 to 15 words. I'm not sure exactly how many, but a number of words that people have been requesting over the past weeks and months. So I have such a long list of words to cover in the Word of the Day series that I'm going to use that time to help cover those words for those requests. And I will go back. So anyone attending during that live premiere who asked questions, I'll go through and make sure to answer their questions as well. So the next time that I'll be live will be on New Year's Day, 2021. So next Friday, I am also going to be unavailable, so I won't be doing a live class. So this is our last one for 2020, but we'll continue to have the Word of the Day every day and live class again in 2 weeks. So save up your questions or just write them in any of the comments on any of my videos, and I'll be sure to add them to my list of things to cover. Okay, so another question, which was how to speak "I'll let you know later" faster. Yeah, I'll let you know later. It's a little tough, a little challenging. Let's look at and see what kinds of reductions people might do with that phrase. So I'll let you know later. So you can hear, oops, that's not a question, it's a statement. You can hear that if I say it word by word, I'll let you know later, it sounds choppy and not that fluent, and it is difficult to go quickly. I'll let you know later. I think I probably group all of these first words together, and then my stress is on later, and so I have a little break there and a little more length there. One way that we speed it up is that I don't really say I'll let. I don't make a break between those two. I just do one L sound. So it would sound kind of like I'll let. I hold the L longer. I'll let. I'll let you know. Let you. I do a stopped T there. I don't really put the T on. So I'll let you makes more of a break. I'll let you. I just stop my E very short. I stop my T either with my tongue going up to stop it, let you, or I stop it further back in my mouth, let you know, later. So I would say just build it up from the back, later, know later, let you know later. Kind of trying to think about this part is about the same length as the word later. That's often what we do with unstressed parts of a sentence and stressed parts. I'll let you know later, so kind of getting that rhythm and being comfortable with combining those words and sounds. It's not easy, and you don't want to sacrifice being understood for speed. So find a balance where you're still making the sounds correctly, but you're trying to make a contrast. So one of the things that you can try is, it's not necessarily about speeding up so much, but making sure that the unstressed parts are faster than the stressed parts. So if I say, I'll let you know later, it's not as fast, but it still has that rhythm because later is much longer than I'll let you know. That's my advice for your request. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry, Isabel. This is the last one for the year, but we'll be back, and there's going to be plenty of great opportunities for your questions all along the way. So thanks so much, everyone. It's nice to see everyone here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon in tomorrow's live class, Sunday's members class, and of course, continuing with our Word of the Day series and our live question and answer classes. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, guys. Thank you, everyone.